Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is out, and it left a lot of people, well, like this. It was full to the brim of new characters, dense backstories, heavy exposition, and at times it was hard to keep track of it all. On top of that, there was also a ton of Easter eggs, callbacks, and connections to the Harry Potter books and films that we know and love. So we've compiled a list of every Easter egg and Harry Potter reference that we saw in The Crimes of Grindelwald. Naturally, there are going to be a ton of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the film, go and check it out first, and good luck. Before we apparate into the wizarding world, make sure to subscribe to GameSpot Universe, where we've got a comprehensive spoiler review of the film alongside deep dives into both Grindelwald and Newt Scamander. Right, time for some Easter eggs. Although the name Nikola Flamel has been around since the very beginning of the Harry Potter saga, this is actually the first time he's made an appearance. Flamel is a French wizard, noted alchemist, and as Hermione states,
is the only known maker of the Philosopher's Stone.
The what?
Honestly, don't you two read?
His inclusion in The Crimes of Grindelwald was largely as a background player, with his home offering Newt, Jacob and Tina a safe house in Paris. But his presence here feels like it's gearing up towards something even more important, especially in the blink and you'll miss it mysterious chat he had with Jessica Williams' character, Eulalie Hicks. Is Flamel perhaps part of a secret order? I guess only time will tell. Also, eagle-eyed fans will definitely have seen the Philosopher's or Sorcerer's Stone nestled away in Flamel's house. Another returning character from the Potter books is Voldemort's infamous snake Nagini, who, well, is Claudia Kim's in this movie. We learn that Nagini is in fact a maledictus, which is a particularly nasty sounding curse that dooms the infected to turn into a beast over time. In The Crimes of Grindelwald, she still has the ability to transform between her two states, although we're told that she will eventually lose this power. But more importantly, she's not rotten to the core like she is in the Harry Potter series, as she eventually sided with Newt, Dumbledore and co at the end of the film. So it's safe to assume that we'll see the journey that Nagini takes towards becoming the evil snake we know and hate in Fantastic Beasts 3, 4 and 5. Aside from the much vaunted return to Hogwarts, we got to witness that age-old wizarding lesson, the Bhagat. We first learned about Bhagats, magical creatures that turn into whatever you fear the most, all the way back in The Prisoner of Azkaban, where Harry's fear was realised as a Dementor. In a scene that heavily mirrored Professor Lupin's class from the third Potter book, we see Dumbledore teaching Newt, Lita, and the rest of their schoolmates about the Bhagat. In Newt's example, it turns into a desk, highlighting his fear of working a desk job. And in the case of Lita, it transforms into her deepest regret, the accidental death of her baby half-brother, Corvus.
Ridiculous.
Another callback to the Harry Potter series is in the inclusion of the Mirror of Erised, a special magical item that shows you, Peanut, your deepest desire. The Mirror of Erised was first seen in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, where a then 11-year-old Harry looked into it and saw what he wanted the most in life, his family. He was eventually warned against looking into the mirror by Dumbledore, who intervened on one of Harry's nightly visits to the mirror. And we also now know that Dumbledore was conclusively lying about what he sees in the mirror, telling Harry that he saw himself holding a nice warm pair of socks. Which is kind of contradictory to what we can see in the film, as we can clearly see that his greatest desire is in fact Grindelwald and specifically the blood pact they made together. So from the books we know that Dumbledore taught Transfiguration before he became the school's headmaster, which made certain sequences in the trailers where it looks like he's teaching defense against the dark arts rather confusing. The Crimes of Grindelwald gave us an answer to this question rather succinctly. During an intervention, we learn that it's the British ministry that banned him from teaching about the dark arts, which we can assume sets him on a course to teach Transfiguration. As a little side Easter egg, this intervention from the ministry draws ire in particular from one of Dumbledore's students, a boy with the surname of McLaggen, perhaps a relative of Cormac McLaggen, who was at Hogwarts at the same time as our good pal Harry Potter. While Dumbledore's return was the undeniable star of the show, we also got to catch up with another fan favourite teacher, one Minerva McGonagall. But wait, I hear the confused fans among you shout at your screens. McGonagall wasn't even alive during the events of the Crimes of Grindelwald, and you know what? You would be right. McGonagall herself states in The Order of the Phoenix, which is set in the years 1995 to 1996, that she's been working at Hogwarts for 39 years, which would place her starting at the school in 1956, nearly 3 decades after the events of this film. So who is this mysterious McGonagall? Her mum? An aunt? Another relative entirely? Who knows? Well, I hope JK knows. The Crimes of Grindelwald fills in a fair few gaps in the complex history between Albus Dumbledore and Gellert Grindelwald, a history that we learn all about in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Fantastic Beasts 2 provides new context for the fraught relationship between these two wizards, and specifically the reason why Dumbledore can't act against Grindelwald. That reason is the Blood Pact, a new form of magic that is very similar to the unbreakable vow. As Newt states when he returns the Blood Pact to Dumbledore, you vowed to never fight each other, and this simple pledge effectively ties both of the wizards' hands with presumably dire consequences if either breaks the pact. This explains why Dumbledore refuses to fight Grindelwald, and also provides a reason why Grindelwald needs Credence to fight Dumbledore. How this relates to the tragic duel between Albus, Aberforth and Grindelwald that resulted in the death of Ariana Dumbledore is yet to be seen, but surely the terms of the Blood Pact would have some effect on the three just flinging curses at each other. We hear Grindelwald utter his personal mantra, "for the greater good," for the first time in the Crimes of Grindelwald. We learn the context and significance of this phrase during Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows through Dumbledore's letters to Grindelwald. Dumbledore wrote, "Yes, we have been given power, and yes, that gives us the right to rule, but it also gives us responsibilities over the ruled. We seize control for the greater good, and from this it follows that we must use only the force that is necessary and no more." It's safe to say that Grindelwald did not get Dumbledore's point. Instead, he used the phrase to justify his barbaric actions against muggles all over the world. While the Deathly Hallows didn't all appear in the film as such, their significance still loomed greatly over the Crimes of Grindelwald. Literally, they're in the logo of the movie. A close look at the logo reveals the three symbols of the Deathly Hallows: the Elder Wand, the Resurrection Stone, and the Invisibility Cloak. We know the symbols and their meaning from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, where we learn that Grindelwald took ownership of the sign as his own mark. We also see Grindelwald using the Elder Wand, which we know from J.K. Rowling's timeline he acquired sometime vaguely between 1900 and 1926. The Crimes of Grindelwald gave us some context behind the connection between the Dumbledore family and the mythical Phoenix. We learn from both Dumbledore himself and Grindelwald that a Phoenix will come to a Dumbledore at the time of their greatest need. We see this happen with Credence during the revelation that he is a Dumbledore, but we can also see that Albus has yet to receive a Phoenix, or specifically his Phoenix, Fawkes. So I guess we can only assume that Dumbledore's time of greatest need is still to come. The Lestranges are a famous wizarding family that we learned a lot about in the Harry Potter series, especially the treacherous Bellatrix, who actually married into the family. But in the Crimes of Grindelwald, we learn of a whole new French branch of this wizarding family tree. We meet Corvus Lestrange Sr., who coveted a son to take his name above all other desires. In that pursuit, he bewitched and effectively stole Lorena Karma, the wife of Mustafa and father of Yusuf, and had a baby, Leta Lestrange. Lorena died while giving birth to Leta, and Corvus remarried and had another son, Corvus Lestrange V, who ended up drowning on a boat to America. The upshot of all this confusing family tree drama is that Leta Lestrange is distantly related, although not by blood, to Bellatrix Lestrange. Alongside the Blood Pact, we also saw another use of the Unbreakable Vow, a powerful piece of magic that was first seen in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Leta Lestrange's estranged half-brother Yusuf Karma makes an unbreakable vow with his distraught father to avenge their family against the wicked Corvus Lestrange Sr. This vow dictates that Yusuf kill the thing that Corvus Sr. loves the most, namely his son, Little Corvus Jr. So in short, the Karma family vow to kill Corvus Jr. to get revenge on Corvus Sr. I've said Corvus way too many times now and it sounds weird. The film opened with an exhilarating escape sequence where Grindelwald evaded American auras aboard a Thestral-carried stagecoach. The Thestral is a particularly grim invention of J.K. Rowling's, as it's a bird horse that can only be seen by people who have witnessed death. In the opening sequence of the film, it appears that everyone can see the Thestrals, which seems appropriate given the context of the scene at hand. This also marks the first time we've seen the Thestrals since Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, where they carried Bill and Fleur to safety during the Battle of the Seven Potters. We saw Newt partake in a swig of Polyjuice potion in order to conceal his identity during his infiltration of the French Ministry of Magic. He takes the image of his brother Theseus for a hot minute before being rumbled by Theseus himself.
He needs to control his temper. I think that might have been the best moment of my life.
Last but not least, when Newt illegally travelled from Britain to Paris, he used a Portkey, the nauseating form of wizard travel that was first seen in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
1, 2, hurry! 3!
And that, I believe, is everything. There's a lot going on in the Crimes of Grindelwald, so if I've missed anything out, and I'm sure I probably have, please let me know in the comment section below, or you can come find me on Twitter at Adam Rees Mace. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.